Now, this question is not up for a debate at all, okay? The answer is clear. If you can say the principal corrected me, you can as well say the principal corrected no one else but me. The answer is me, okay? Option A is a subject pronoun, option B is object pronoun, option C, myself, is a reflexive pronoun. A reflexive pronoun is a pronoun that reflects self. I hurt myself. I thought myself. Okay? Option D is a subject pronoun. We need an object pronoun. That's why you need to understand the concept of subject and object. Subject is the person carrying out the action, the doer of the action. And the sentence has already provided that. The principal. The principal corrected. The principal is the one performing the action. So we need a receiver. Okay, we need someone to receive the action. And that should be what? An object pronoun, not a subject pronoun. And me is the only object pronoun in this question, right? The answer to this question is what? Me. If you still confuse who and whom, then you need to watch this. Once you can figure out who is performing the action and who is receiving the action, trust me, you have no problem with who and whom. Now, first thing, whom is what? Object pronoun. Who is what? Subject pronoun. Both refer to what? People. Good. Now, whose is possessive. When you use whose, a noun comes immediately after it. So we say whose book, whose pen is this, whose bag, whose father, whose mother. Good. Now, which is used to refer to things or animal. Now, take a look at the parts we need to fill. Can you see the gap? What is before the gap? The man. The man. Is it a thing or an animal or a person? It's a person. So we can easily eliminate what? Which and whose, and then we are left with what? Who and whom. Now who or whom needs to refer back to the man. Okay, so the next big question we're going to ask ourselves is, what is the man doing? Is the man performing the action? If the man is performing the action, then we need to use who. But if the man is receiving the action, then we need to use what? Whom. Now, what is the action? Told. Did the man tell the interesting story, or is the man receiving it? The man told the interesting story to me. Okay, good. So the man is performing the action. So we can easily remove I said, because these are interrupting words, they are distractions. Okay, just remove it. This is the man dash told me the interesting story. This is the man who told me, because the man is doing the telling. Me is receiving the narration. Okay, so final answer to this question is what? Who. Do you say in uniform or on uniform? The answer to this question is definitely in uniform. Okay, so we say in uniform, in suit, in black. It simply means you're wearing it. We don't say on or on uniform, because in English we treat clothing as something you're usually in, not on. So I think the confusion with on is with the phrasal verb put on. Put on means wear, right? Not put, not on, but put on together. Yeah. Another dynamic we can have is she has a cap on, right? With this sentence structure, right, we can easily generalize that every on means wear, right? But it's not the case. Okay, so the most important thing is meaning. How would you interpret this sentence? It means the officer wearing a uniform. Okay, now that we understand the meaning, we can easily choose the correct phrase that expresses this, and that is in uniform. We can't say with uniform because it means you have it, you're carrying it. The boy with uniform is standing outside. Okay, we can't say uniform dress because uniform is a noun, dress is another noun. We can't have this combination. We can say cut dress but not uniform dress. It is not a fixed expression in English. So final answer to this question is what? In uniform. Trust me, the keyword here is employee. Okay, so from the sentence provided, we are looking for a word that means to hire, to bring on board, right? And that phrasal verb is take on or taking on, right? It means to bring new people. The company is taking on new workers. Okay, so when you see employee, you see workers, you see staff, just think of take on because it means to hire. Now, when you see taking up, it means to start a new activity, to start a new role. Okay, she's taking up photography this year. She's taking up content creation this year. Okay, so you are starting a new role or task or activity. Okay, now when you say taking after, it means to resemble. Alex is taking after her mother. So when you say taking over, it means to assume leadership or to assume control. Ade is taking over the project tomorrow. So final answer to this question is what? Taking on. There are two things you need to note in the sentence, right? As if, one, and then smiles. Now, this question is generally under subjunctive mode. Sometimes you find it under the use of as if, or sometimes sequence of tenses. Now, I need you to know that as if can be used for real and unreal situation, both. Okay, not just unreal. Now, in your exam, examiners like to set questions more under the hypothetical or the unreal situation. That does not mean that as if cannot be used in real situations. So the real question is, how do I know that a sentence with as if is real or unreal? Now, the way you can know is the verb. Okay, now if a verb shows behavior or attitude or gives an impression, it is unreal. Verbs like act, speaks, behaves, smiles, dances, okay, they are usually unreal situations. Okay? So when you see verbs like that, the past tense form comes after as if, and that's why the answer to this question is new. Okay, she smiles as if she knew a secret. Good. You also need to know that there are reality verbs, verbs that show possibility. Examples of these verbs are look, appear, seems, sound. So when you see these verbs in sentences that have as if, they are regarded as real situation. Okay, so look or the reality verb determines the tense. So for example, she looks as if she dash sick. Looks determines the verb. Look is present tense, and so the answer will be is. If it were to be looked, the answer will be what? Was. She looked as if she was sick. Please note. Now finally, if it is an unreal or hypothetical situation, and your options are verb to be, what are verb to be? Is, am, was, were, be, being. You're expected to choose where. Okay, that's why you say they act as if they were owners of the house. Do not forget, act is a verb that shows an unreal situation. Please note. For this question, I bet most of you would choose on the long run because of familiar patterns. Now, what do I mean by familiar patterns? On the road, on the go, on the run. So your brain automatically says run equals to on, and that's the problem. Okay, now I need you to think of the long run as a period of time, not movement. So in the long run is actually an idiomatic expression. Okay, so we say in the morning, in the future. So in the long run, not on the long run. Okay, because we are actually inside a period of time, not on top of it. Okay, so when we say on, it's the wrong preposition. When we say at, this is the wrong preposition. After the long run sounds literal, okay, and meaning is important, right? It means that even though it took a long time, he was eventually arrested and convicted by not actually running, right? So final answer to this question is what? In the long run. Oh yeah, I think I know where Orchid is. It is along the Lekki-Epe Expressway near the Ganza bus stop. If you pronounce ORCHID as orchid, you will most likely fail this question. Okay, so the correct pronunciation is orchid. Okay, CH is the K sound, and we're looking for the sound represented by CH. And you shouldn't be surprised because CH in the word chemistry is the K sound. So CH can actually be pronounced as K, as in orchid, can be pronounced as ch, as in church, right? A place of worship for Christians. And sh, as in chagrin, option D. Now, chagrin is a feeling of disappointment. Oh, to my chagrin, it wasn't as good as it claimed to be. Okay, to my disappointment. So you can replace it with disappointment, and it's also a noun. Okay, so the answer to this question is skewer. Okay, skewer has the K sound. The letter K represents the K sound. And skewer is that long, thin, pointed piece of wood that is used to hold together pieces of meat and vegetables while it is cooking, like your suya or kebab, right? So you know what skewer is. So when we say scepter, scepter is a rod carried by kings or queens, right, as a symbol of power or as a symbol of authority. Now, option C, we have sham. Sham is a situation or a feeling that something is not as good as it seems to be. Okay, so final answer to this question is option B.